All right, everyone, I've just gotten word that we are ready for this run. Once again, my name is Kanban Meow. I will be hosting this run of II Chronicles Plus Any Percent Easy, run by James Picard 007. Take it away!
Hello, and how are you, RPG Limit Break? I am James Picard 007, and with me is...
Hey everyone, I'm Freedom. You might have seen me for SMT5 and FF10 last night, and we're back here with II Chronicles Plus.
Yes, we are. Little known fact, this was actually inspired by Newtopia 2, despite that officially, II came first, but, we're not going to worry about the little details. So, as you said, this is going to be any percent easy, but before we do that, I do believe we have some incentives we should probably close off.
Yes.
And let us know where we're going on that direction.
Alrighty, for the artwork, our winner is Chronicles 2009.
Cool.
And for the soundtrack, we're going to be rocking the OG PC 8801 goodness.
PC 88 it is.
All right. I don't think I've ever actually listened to the PC 88 soundtrack, so this will be interesting.
This will be interesting. All right, so Chronicles easy. Game will start here. I don't think we have anything else to worry about beforehand, right?
No, I think we can just get right into it.
All right, so we will be starting off here in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
All right, so this game picks up immediately after East 1 left off. Like, we killed Darkfact at the top of the tower, read the books, and were carried into the sky. And we crash land on the floating continent of East, which previously was thought to have vanished 700 years earlier, hence ancient East vanished. But we awaken and we're found by a
girl.
Yeah, a girl in the town.
And she just brings us home. And, as young girls do. And we're just going to sit here and lay in bed because it's a lot to take in. So... We're about to get into a lot here, so I'm going to try to run this down real quick. This is Benoa, Lilia's mother. Apparently, Lilia is very sick, and she's going to ask us to go visit the doctor on her behalf. Well, the doctor is out. Unfortunately, he's trapped in a mine, so we got to go take care of that. But to get into the mine, we need to get past the guard. In order to get past the guard, we have to get the elder's permission. In order to get the elder's permission, we need to have the Book of Ease. Each Book of Ease has 7 sacks. Each sack has 7 cats. Each cat has 7 kids. Kids, cats, sacks, wives. How many were going to say knives?
I don't remember that part of this game.
Wait a minute, I think I messed something up.
So yeah, like we said, series of very unfortunate consecutive events here. We find out that, the doctor was looking for medicinal materials, and got locked in a cave-in in the mine. We agree to help out, being the very kind fellows that we are, and we're actually given some chunk change to buy some stuff. So here we're going to be purchasing a wing. Similar to the last game, wings allow you to warp back to a specific location. In the first game, it was always warped you back to the hub town. Here it warps you to any major location that you visited. We'll be using exactly one of these because we'll thankfully have a replacement for these wings later on. We'll also be visiting the blacksmith here, and we will be purchasing a sword. For those of you who saw the East 1 run a couple years ago, you know that in order to even get into the main plot, you had to get a sword, a shield, and armor. Thankfully, in this case, you actually just need the sword. And so that's good because it means that our money route early on is a little less catastrophic, but it's also not great for consistency because we don't need armor. That means we're not going to have armor for like the first half or a little more of the game. So that means that right now it's pretty fine, but as we get further into the game, we'll get to a point where enemies will just start like 2-3 shotting us, and we have to be very, very careful about that. But at the moment, we can cruise along our way. And fortunately, taking damage isn't quite as likely in this game as it is in the previous game, because the bump system that the first game had is in this game again, but it's received a couple of upgrades, especially on the easy difficulty. In the previous game, the difficulty settings, all it really affected was enemies just moved a little faster, and you took more damage, and they took a little less damage. In this game, the bump system actually correlates to your difficulty. So on easy mode, which we're playing, as long as you run into the enemy and not vice versa, or they don't attack you, because enemies can actually attack in this game instead of just wander towards you, you will always deal damage and not take any damage in return. These rules kind of get a little stricter as you go up in difficulty, and in normal mode, you start having to hit enemies a little bit more head-on, but you can always hit them at a diagonal, and it gets a little more complicated as we go. But for the sake of easy mode, as long as we're running into enemies and not them into us, we're good. Also, as we get a little bit into the game, we will get some options for actually some ranged combat that will make it even less likely that we'll get hit. So this game introduced a more progressive leveling system than we saw in the first game, where you hit level 10 about halfway through and then you were maxed out in your level the whole game. Here, we'll actually be leveling up throughout the run, which does unfortunately mean that there are going to be a couple of mandatory grind sessions. This first one, we're actually grinding until we hit level 4, which we did right there. This level 4 we need so that we can actually go into the dungeon proper and fight some more enemies so that we can grind to level 6.
Yes, basically here in about a minute or so, we are going to go engage a few enemies where we absolutely need to be level 6 before we can even touch them, because Ease is one of those games where it's really stat dependent. So if I were to try to engage them now, I would not be able to damage them at all.
Yeah, this game stat scales absolutely absurdly. So yeah, you would just do 0 damage, completely clink off enemies doing nothing. But while we're actually going through this first dungeon, in addition to rescuing the villagers who have been trapped in the collapse, we're also going to be dropping off the 6 books of Ys to these shrines. These are all shrines that are dedicated to the 6 sages that wrote the books, and in dropping off the books, we'll get some exposition from the spirits of each of the sages. They'll give us a full heal, which will be really important for later, and also they'll just give us general guidance and give us some tips, some lore about the area, that essentially the demons all have originated from a place called Solomon Shrine, or the Shrine of Salmon if you are playing any Japanese version of the game. That's where the demons are coming from. We need to fight the demons, defeat their leader in order to rescue the land of Ys from this force of darkness that is threatens to engulf the world. So here, now that we're level 6, we can go over here to these little golem guys and very slowly and methodically actually chip them down and pick up this Rod of Divinity. This item is incredibly important. Like we mentioned, we do actually get some ranged options in this game in addition to just base tanking every enemy, where when we interact with this statue of some very familiar-looking goddesses, and I'm not sure what that's about. You actually see we gained an MP meter. So in this game, we will have access to magic. There are 6 kinds of magic. We will be picking up 4 types of...
5 eventually.
5 eventually.
But mostly throughout most of the game, it'll just be 4.
Yeah, so we'll be picking up a couple magical spells. We're going to be picking up the first one here pretty soon as we now enter into the mines themselves proper. As we're going through these mines, we have a couple of goals. Like we mentioned before, we do need to rescue the doctor, but also once we rescue the doctor and we deliver the letter explaining Lilia's condition, he will send us out on a quest to pick up a couple of items to make medicine. We picked up one of those items already, that rhoda fruit that was just lying on the ground. There's another one that we have to pick up much later. We're also going to be finding a boss and killing them, in addition to picking up a couple of magic spells and some important items for later.
Yeah, one of the nice things about Ease 2 here is that you do have to pick up some things for quests, but there's nothing stopping you from picking up the items before you get the quest. So we don't have to do some backtracking.
Yeah, it's also really nice because the game actually acknowledges the fact that you are able to do multiple things at once. So here we're going to find this mattock, this pickaxe here, to rescue the doctor because there was a cave-in. And then we're going to rescue the doctor. And we're going to do something that seems really weird immediately afterwards, in that we're going to save him. The game is going to give us a level up because this game does actually have a somewhat rudimentary quest system where when you complete a major story objective, such as rescuing the doctor or solving some sort of puzzle, the game will actually give you roughly a level's worth of EXP, which is very, very nice. And you'll notice as soon as we break this, also just fun fact, James ran into that wall at a diagonal, which prevented a cutscene from playing. Normally when you walk right into that wall, you get some dialogue with the doctor, like, hey, can you save me? And then we're just going to walk away. We're just going to leave him there.
I mean, it's open. He can get out from on his own. We're not worried about escort missions right now.
Yeah. And funny enough, he actually can. The game does, if you just leave the doctor, he will just find his way back to his house. So when we find him, we'll have a couple of, actually 3 different dialogue trees kind of all stacked on top of each other, because he does still want to like thank you for saving him, and you need to deliver the letter. And so he'll be like, oh, thank you for saving me. Oh, do you have something to tell me? Oh, okay, well, I need these ingredients. Oh, you have the ingredients already. Okay, cool, let me make the medicine. And it'll just play right in a row without any sort of like having to leave the room, come back, or do various weird things that sometimes you have to do in other games. And here we pick up the fire magic. So now, in addition to, we have added a flamethrower to our bumper car. I'm not sure if that's quite carnival legal, but
Yeah, let's not worry about the details.
yeah. And here we're going to be dropping off a book, and we're also going to be doing a little bit of level grinding. Like we said, the stat scaling in this game is absolutely absurd, and in order to better deal with the next boss, we need to be level 12. And so as soon as we drop off, there's actually 2 books in this little shrine section, funny enough. This is the only one that just groups them like this. We'll actually be, there was that little like red demon enemy a couple of rooms ago. We'll actually be killing him repeatedly to get that 12th level.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, he's gonna have a bad time. But dropping this book off, going to grind, and while we're doing our brief little level grind, this is the perfect opportunity for our host to take it away for a little bit.
Well, we've got a $5 donation from Ghost Kumo, who says, hello to my friends James P. and Frito P. So glad I was able to see you guys again this year. Sadly, I cannot join you for East 2, but I will be there in spirit watching from home.
Yo.
Super proud of y'all and the Falcon speedrun scene for what we've been able to do at RPG Limit Break in 2024. Much love to you all. Kick Doc Fact right in his face.
Yo,
Will do.
Thank you so much, Ghost.
Donation goes to James Choice.
Ooh. What's coming up next that's big?
Well, we do have some extra Suikoden incentives that we are looking at. The Glitch exhibition is getting real close, $263 out of $500. And then there's also the Clive side quest, which is at $135 out of $1,000. And McDowell's side quest, which is at $195 out of $1,000.
Well, let's go ahead and put it towards a glitch side quest, since we're not going to be really glitchy in our run here. The people deserve some glitches.
You got it.
Yeah, so here we're going to, this is perfect timing, we're going to be starting the first boss of the game, Velagunder. So you'll notice, unlike the first game where, like we said, you're kind of bumper carring into enemies, every major boss in this game, up until the end, is actually completely immune to physical attacks and must be killed with magic. And also, the developers were like, hey, so the player has fireballs, so let's give everything just the most ridiculous curtain fire shooter patterns imaginable. And thus, East 2 is basically a bullet hell, because why not?
It's a little schmuppy.
So we'll be keeping that in mind with that boss. That first boss, Velagunder, isn't too bad. He is a little obnoxious in that he does have arms that block his center mass, which is the only area where you can actually do damage to him. You are able to shoot the arms a bunch to eventually break them and just always be able to hit center mass, but that's really, really slow. And thankfully, his AI is pretty easy to manipulate in that if you run away from him, then move directly in front of him again, he'll tend to like open his arms to shoot bullets at you. And so we can deal with that. There we picked up a iron ore, which we will sell to the shopkeeper for a bunch of money to pick up a new weapon. Here we pick up the Celceta flower, which is the second of the 2 items that we need for the medicine. And there are 2 more important items that we'll be picking up in this mine before we head out.
And while we're also here, we're also dealing with these enemies because we do have a slight money route we're worried about.
Yes, this game does have a somewhat strict money route where we will be, in addition to just needing the EXP, we do need quite a bit of money because we will get 3,000 gold for selling that ore, but we need to bank up 2k just from enemy kills because we're going to be purchasing a Talwar, which costs about 5k, and those night enemies are really slow to kill, so we're just going to avoid them at all costs. There we picked up an Evil Bell, which, other than, ringing whenever Lily is around if you're Korzik, we will use for a side quest in a bit, and we'll pick up the Light Magic, which the Light Magic, it seems weird that we're picking it up because what it does is it illuminates areas around you when you're in darkness, and it reveals like secrets, hidden paths, whatever. And that may seem like a really weird thing for a speedrunner to be picking up because it's like, well, don't you know where everything is already? Why do you need to be able to see secrets? And there is actually one application of the light magic where it is forced to be picked up. So we grab the light magic there, and then we will be seeing its use in like 30 minutes or something.
Closer to 40.
Yeah, 30.
Well, yeah, 40, roughly.
Yeah, here we pick up the Talwar, which is a very large upgrade to our sword, and we will be finally delivering everything like we said. So here, the doctor's like, hey, well, I was trapped, but I was rescued by someone. Wait, you were the one that rescued me? Oh, well, thank you. What can I do for you? Oh, I have this letter? Okay, thank you. I need these ingredients. Oh, you already have them? Cool. Well, let me just make this recipe real quick, and we get Lilia's medicine.
And here we will say goodbye to Dear Doctor for quite some time because he's not going to reappear until East 10.
And so we just deliver the medicine to Benoa. And this is required. We're not just doing this because we're a nice person. This is required for the plot.
Because Benoa will be handing us something very handy here very soon.
Oh, also Lilia jump scares us. She really enjoys doing that. She was just secretly hiding. She was overhearing the conversation. She didn't actually know that her condition was as bad as it was, and that and that we went out of our way to save her. So because of our bravery she's shown, she has agreed to take the medicine, and you could say it has a somewhat decent effect on her. You know, magical energy tends to be a good sign. And she's like, I feel like I can run a marathon, which I'm a decently healthy person, and I definitely couldn't do that. So that's a very impressive medicine right there.
It's a very good medicine. I think I need to get some of that.
Right. And here we get the return magic. This is essentially wing in magic form, so we never have to get wings ever again. Instead, by using 20 MP, we can warp to any major location, which right now is only Lance Village, but we'll be getting some more return points. Something worth noting about MP is you'll notice the MP bar doesn't go down immediately after we cast any sort of magic. It actually lowers over time, but the lower our magic is, we actually do get punished for dropping our MP really low. We can rapid fire our fireballs and fire charge shots, but the lower our magic meter is, the less rapidly we can fire them in succession, so that monitoring magic is something important we'll have to do other run. Also, here's probably the scariest part of the game, so we're actually going to give some serious time, at least for the first part of this section here. So we're going to ring this bell, and when we do, it's going to spawn a ton of enemies here, and these knights especially are very spooky, so let's give some serious time.
Yep. Because basically we have a lot of slicing and dicing to do. And just because normally one-on-one these aren't too dangerous, especially at this level, because I can stun lock them, but their numbers here can make this section particularly dangerous. Try to get these guys so I can stay up. Gentlemen, please. Oh, come on.
There we go. Okay,
there
cool.
we go.
So yeah, that part is quite difficult. It's very easy to... iframes don't really exist in this game, so it's very easy to just get stun locked to death very quickly there. And there we were fighting both for the experience, but also if you kill all the enemies in that room and then the two in the room prior, you do get another free level up, which is very nice. And here, the reason we had to do that quest was because the final sage is behind this guy's basement, which is a rather inconvenient place to
have a shrine.
But, to each their own. So here we meet with the sage Fact, who is the final one, and I believe is actually Toll from Origin, but...
I don't think it's ever hard to confirm, but definitely one of the elder facts.
Yeah. And he gives us the Scroll of Guidance, which we will be using exactly once and not on purpose. It's meant to be a sort of hint system in the game where anytime you walk up to the goddess statues that are scattered throughout the game, you can interact with them and they will actually give you a little bit of a hint as to what item you need, where to go next, etc. But more importantly, once you drop off all of the books, you do open up this door here that allows us to access the next area, which is the Ice Ridge of Nulsha. And there's going to be a little cutscene here where we're introduced to our main villain, Dallas, and he's going to monologue a bit. So monologuing is the perfect opportunity if the host has anything for us.
Well, we've got an $18 anonymous donation that says, "Loving this East run and the sweet, sweet PC88 soundtrack. Thanks for bringing this to RPG Limit Break. Let's get those Suikoden 2 incentives and hit 50K. And I will say, we are currently $2,020 away from 50K. And if we did hit all 3 of those Suikoden 2 incentives, that would take us to that goal. So let's see what we can do, everyone."
I believe in y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be awesome to, see more of the marathon and along with just a really, really cool glitch exhibition. So here in Nulsha, we will be, again, killing more enemies as we go. We need to be level 20 by the time we get to the boss of this area, and so we have a decent bit of time. This is, like, kind of a bit of an annoying area. There's a lot of back and forth here. We picked up a blizzard bulb, which we need to open up a path. That we grab an item that then opens up something at the very beginning of the area where we are now that opens the door to the boss. There's a lot of like, go here, then back. There's so much backtracking in this area, and we're just going to be cruising along, killing enemies. We will get some tools that will actually make enemy killing a little bit easier as we go. We will be receiving a little bit of an upgrade to our fire magic as we go through here. So here, this room is where we need the blizzard bulb. There is this like wind current, this icy wind current, and apparently if you just use a blizzard bulb, it makes a bridge, so that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, who are we to question such things?
Right, and that first staircase is so mean. It's a dead end, but you see a staircase, and you're like, ooh, that looks important, and every time it's a dead end. So, pretty soon here, there's I think just this screen, and then there's the chest I'm thinking of.
Yeah, we're pretty close to that.
Oh. Guy was having an adventure.
Indeed.
All right, so here we get the Hawk Idol. There are 2 idols in this game. There's the Hawk Idol and the Falcon Idol. These items essentially serve as upgrades to your magic. So now our fire magic has a slight homing effect to it, which is very, very helpful. The homing effect can be a little bit temperamental. At times, it can sometimes just go off on little adventures when we're trying to shoot enemies in front of us, but for the most part, it's actually fairly good. Here we're picking up our fourth type of magic, the Alter Magic. Whenever you select the Alter Magic, you turn into a cute little monster called a Roo. It's for the most part at this point kind of just for flavor text. It de-aggroes every enemy in around you, and you can talk to them and get some really comedic lines. The localizers really had fun with the Adalru dialogue. But it will be seeing quite a bit of use later on. We're picking up another herb. If you use an herb, you restore 50 hit points. We don't necessarily need them ever, but it's a very large amount of safety to help us not get murdered horribly when we're at the point where we died at 3 hits to everything. So there we picked up the stone shoes. You may have noticed those like little ice ramps that we've been running down or walking around. And the shoes allow us to go up the ice ramps, which allows us to grab an item at the very, very beginning of the ice ridge. Also, you saw there that James used a snowy marl flower. Though that essentially just gives you 20 MP. MP management, like I said, is very important because the lower your MP bar is, the less you can rapid fire, and you can also chain charge shots together pretty well, which is very important for boss fights.
It's not super necessary at this point, but we like to have breathing room.
Yeah, and then of course the more charge shots you can chain together, the more damage you do, the faster things go. So MP management is a pretty big part of this run, and so that Marl Flower just gives us back about 20 MP. Anytime we cast the return spell, it costs 20, so we basically just make back the cost. Yeah, this area is actually impossible to navigate. I haven't ran this game in a little bit, but I have done so many runs of this game, and even when I was like at my peak of running this, I would still just get lost in Nulsha like once a run or something. It's a little silly.
Yeah, what are directions? But, unfortunately, this is not the worst of getting lost.
Oh, for sure. There's an entire section of the game that's basically just the have fun getting lost portion. But here we're getting pretty close to the EXP threshold that we need. We will definitely be hitting level 20 by the time we get back to the boss, because that area where we picked up the stone shoes is where the boss is. So we get to run back through everything in Nulcia here. So again, perfect opportunity for the host is anything for us.
Well, just a reminder, folks, we are here supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around three main pillars: education and support, awareness, and advocacy. What does education and support mean? Well, via their 48 state offices and nearly 700 affiliates, NAMI offers a host of signature programs, presentations, and support groups that are available free of charge. This includes a national helpline that can provide information, resources, and a compassionate, understanding, trained volunteer to support anyone who calls them. Thanks for your support during this event.
Now, you can keep going.
Yeah, you have like another 30 seconds or so.
Blah, blah, blah. Some marketing speech here about how great we are. Honestly, who cares? Yes, we publish games, and you should only care for the games. Enjoy our games, wishlist them, and support cool indies. Take a look at Drova, Spindle, Elements Destiny, Chained Echoes, and Crosscode. That message comes from you from Deck 13, one of our sponsors for RPG Limit Break. Thank you so much, Deck 13, for your support.
Yes, thank you, and that's perfect timing. So there, we pick up the anti-illusion mirror. So if you walk into this wall here, as we just showcased, it's actually a fake wall. You touch the wall, you touch the door, and nothing happens. And you need to use the illusion or the mirror to show that the wall isn't real, and then see the real one. So this is giant evil demonic Frogger. He likes hop and hippity hop, and we like to see him jump around a bunch, because when he's not jumping, he's shooting out these icicles, and they block our shots, which means we have a little fewer opportunities to shoot him. So ideally, he can actually chain his jumps together, and that's the perfect opportunity, because coincidentally, the amount of time it takes him to jump is about the amount of time it takes us to charge up a charge shot. And here we are in probably the hardest part of the run. This is the Moat of Burn Bless, the fiery inferno of doom, where runs go to die. First off, we'll be using the Evil Bell again, and we'll see something like little peeking out here. And we find the Ruse Nest, where we don't need to be there right now, but it is a warp point, and we do have to return there eventually. So it's just more convenient to tag that warp point now instead of having to backtrack through the whole area. So this area definitely cranks up the enemy stats a lot. This is the point where we're talking about that, again, we have no armor at all. And enemies really start hurting at this point. Most things here will 3-shot us. Also, just the enemies are kind of rude. There's later on going to be enemies that like shooting projectiles at us. There's a couple of these lizard enemies can just turn invisible, because why not? And we're also going to be introduced to two very, very fun enemies here in a few rooms. The Scorpions of Doom and the Armadillos of Despair. The Scorpions of Doom, lots and lots of health, and they hit like an absolute... like a truck.
Oh, dear.
Do you have a backup save? That should be... yeah, we're good. Okay. So we have to redo a little bit of Burn Bless. But like we said, the Scorpions are very nasty.
That usually does not happen, but unfortunately that is...
yeah, that was incredibly unfortunate. Like we said, iframes just aren't a thing. So that just happens, unfortunately. And not a lot you can do about it in some cases. But in addition to those Scorpions, there are also like some Armadillo enemies we'll be running into, and at this point, they're just completely invincible. They're very, very tanky, and at our current level, because we are a little under-leveled at this point, we just do no damage to them at all, and so whenever we run into them, we'll have to do some shenanigans to get around them, either just kind of trying to bump them out of the way, or utilizing that Rue magic that we mentioned earlier to just move past them normally, because... yeah, they're just gonna be immovable otherwise. All right. This time with feeling, yeah, see, just even that one attack took out a pretty good chunk of our health. And this is the fun armadillo room, I believe?
No,
it's
that's after we get the...
right.
That's when we're doing the utter fun bit.
Yes.
Ooh, it's Yeah.
Yeah, let's throw it on a save here. Thankfully, in this game, you can save anywhere, anytime, except during a boss fight. So, so as long as we're keeping in mind saving, death is never super punishing, which is very good.
Yes, because death is can be very liberal, and unfortunately, this does not have autosave.
Yes, and so here we have discovered the most interestingly located settlement of humans that I've ever seen in my life. This is the colony of lava?
Why around lava? I don't know. I mean, I get okay. Like we said in Trails in Third, convection is a myth.
Yeah, and so here, if you were to talk to the villagers before this point, they'd be like, very like, oh, I don't like you. You're weird. You're an outsider. What's going on? And then you turn into a Rue, and you actually talk to this bridge keeper here, Ruba, and he's like, hey, tell your boss I'm keeping an eye out for Adol. I'm not letting him through no matter what. And then you turn back into Adol, and you're like, hey, I know that you're keeping me from walking. And he's like, oh, you got me. Well, you see, my son has been kidnapped by Dallas, and he told us not to help you out or anything. So, sorry. And we're like, well, we can rescue your son for you. Naively not knowing the terrors that are about to befall us in doing so.
Yeah.
But we offer to rescue his son Tarf, and here we're going to be warping back to the Rue's Nest because the location we're going is closer to the Rue's Nest. We're going to be picking up 2 items. We're going to be picking up another Rhoda Fruit. Rhoda Fruit act as a full MP restore in this game, and we'll pick up a Rhoda Leaf, which is a key item that we're going to need to actually get to Tarf. So the Rhoda Leaf basically makes it so you're immune to poison gas. Coincidentally, there's one screen of poison gas in this game, and it's directly in front of where Tarf is being kept. So go figure.
Funny how that works out.
So just again, killing all the enemies that are on the way. We need to be level 27 for the boss fight. 26 or 27?
26.
26. We need to be 26 before the next boss fight. And so this is probably the worst room in the game. So James there did an incredibly safe strat of just using the Rue to push them out of the way because you are immune to enemy attacks when you're a Rue, which I don't fault him at all for, because otherwise you have to just kind of slowly bump those enemies out of the way and hope that they just don't immediately turn on you and kill you. That room is not fun.
No.
Let's just put 2 invincible enemies and put them in a really narrow hallway. That sounds like a great time.
I mean, to be fair, again, once more, we are under-leveled, we are under-equipped, so...
Yeah, so these enemies are the ones we were talking about earlier that can shoot fireballs at you. Here we're going to grab this Black Pearl item. Not sure what it's for, but might as well grab it. And in doing so, we have unleashed an army of magma dudes that want nothing more than to paint a crosshair on Adol's face with fireballs. Which, not a good time.
No, I'm not in the mood for barbecue.
Yeah, like his hair is fiery red, but it's not actually on fire, and we would like to keep it that way. So here we use these Angel Whisper earrings that we received from Tarf's father to allow us to find him here. We talk to Tarf, and he's like, hey, I'm trapped in here with the demon, but the demon says if you find an item called the Black Pearl, we can use it to break out of here. Oh, you have a Black Pearl? Cool. Can I have it? And so we give it to him. And, oh, by the way, the demon's name is Keith, by the way. Shoutouts to demons named Keith.
Keith, our boy.
Yes, and so Keith powers up, punches a hole in the wall, and also rips open some iron jail bars because he's just that cool, and then he leaves.
Later, Keith.
Yeah, bye, Keith.
I guess we'll never know our hero.
And though, honestly, I don't blame him for leaving us here alone with Tarf, because if I was Keith, I wouldn't want to be with Tarf either.
Come on, Keith, be a bro.
So, unfortunately, we have to escort Tarf back to the Colony of Lava. Thankfully, we are only 2 screens away from the Colony of Lava. Unfortunately, one of the screens that we are away is that really scary screen with the scorpions and the armadillos from earlier. This screen here.
Okay, this is fine. This is probably technically close to optimal.
Yeah, that was a good pattern.
Just
So
because, obviously Tarf is a child and takes damage like a child.
yeah, he dies in 2 hits to anything. And unlike Fina, who had some pretty good pathing in the previous game, Tarf really, really loves walls and terrain and collision, and he loves discovering terrain for us. There is so much geometry in these screens that I would have no idea exists, except for the fact that Tarf has gotten stuck on literally all of it at some point. So, we'll be keeping an eye on Tarf. He also isn't really great at following you through screens. In East 1, when you were escorting Fina, as long as she was, like, kind of close to being on screen, she didn't even have to be on screen. She just kind of had to be in the general vicinity of your screen. You could screen transition and she would follow you. Here, sometimes Tarf can be standing right next to you, and the game will just be like, oh, you left Tarf behind. And if you leave him behind, you have to go back to the last screen and get him chasing you again. Thankfully, that worked out there. But when he does, the enemies respawn, and depending on where they walk, that could be bad. But thankfully, that was actually a really good Tarf escort.
That was very good.
So that's like the worst part of the run out of the way, and it went quite well. So that's good. But here Tarf continues to annoy me by whistling a dotted 8th note, which, if anyone knows anything about music, knows that that's a very weird note to just be throwing out there. But we are thanked, and we get a level's worth of EXP, so that's pretty cool. And we are allowed to continue forward. So they lower the wooden drawbridge over the lake of fire, of fiery brimstone, and, it doesn't spontaneously combust, so it must be, like, treated really well or something.
Very well. I mean, I'm surprised it's not like, okay, come on, let's get, like, look, not even cracking.
Yeah, Tarf has to get the last word in, too. He's just like, we're already like, oh, yeah, we're good to go. And he's like, off you go. And like, yes, off we go. That's where we were going. Thank you.
I mean, not a bad lad, but I hope we don't see him again.
Yeah, that would be really unfortunate if we had to see him a couple more times to this run, but it's fine. He's living in his happy island of lava, of fiery lava and death. Obviously, we don't need to see him anymore. We're past that point.
Nope, we are going to get ahead in things here.
Oh yes, it's time for us all to really get ahead in life. Okay. Nice EXP total. This is Galaldi. It is probably one of the most terrifying bits of sprite art that I think I've ever seen in a game. For no apparent reason, this is just some grotesque monstrosity. And for anyone that's played East Origin knows that he got a bit of a makeover in that game. And, cool-looking mechanical golem. Here he's like a weird disembodied head with like little tiny insect legs and like hooks sticking into him. It's a design. It's certainly effective in being otherworldly and demonic. But this guy is only vulnerable to damage when he opens his mouth, and he shoots out a giant worm thing because this boss wasn't creepy enough as it is. He can only be hit when he's summoning and retracting the worm. However, the 2 blue spots on the worm are actually immune to damage and will tank shots while we're shooting at him. So we have to make sure to be very careful about positioning our shots. This fight really, really tests your accuracy in positioning with the fireball. You are able to actually shoot him when his mouth isn't open. It will actually push him in the opposite direction. And so some runners like to try to keep him in the top right corner by shooting him. Of course, it does put a higher strain on your MP, which can be a bit of an issue. Also, this next time that the boss is going to open his mouth, now that he's hit this H3 HP threshold, he's going to summon a little guy, a little friendly friend that is also immune to fire and spawns right in the middle of his mouth. So that's going to be a wasted cycle. Now, at this point, we kind of have 2 options. We can either try to deal with the burning friend here to make sure he gets out of the way, or we can just ignore him and keep fighting the boss. It is a little nicer to not worry about the enemy just wandering back into Galaldi's mouth, but at the same time, trying to kill the enemy while the worm is around is very bad. The worm, if you get into a bad position, will just one-shot you.
Mm-hmm. And actually did happen in an earlier practice run.
Yeah, so we definitely do not want to be reliving that experience. So we're just going to try to kite the enemy away from Galaldi while we continue to blast charge shots into his mouth. Again, it is worth noting, charge shots do significantly more damage to bosses than regular shots do. That's kind of obnoxious positioning. Maybe you just shoot him away right before he...
Yeah.
This should be... That was also really bad tapping on the worm's part. It can just directly shoot out of its mouth at you, but no, it decided to do a little loop-de-loop so that to maximize the amount of time that he was completely invincible.
Don't like this, don't like this.
Okay, yeah,
we're good.
All right, that's Galaldi down. I will definitely say that is probably the most technically challenging fight in the run to like actually have a fight that goes well with that. So, so definitely applause for getting out of that fight. But now we're out of the journey to the Shrine of Salmon, and so we're here in Ramia Village. This is going to kind of serve as our hub village for the rest of the game. First off, we're going to be doing some shopping. We have been actually making sure to be getting a lot of money as we've been going, because we need to purchase this item here. This is the hyper cutter. This is the upgrade to our sword. And, you know, damage is good. We will still not be buying armor, though, because who needs it, right?
Armor expensive.
Yeah, armor is very expensive. Thankfully, the game does actually have really good armor in the Salmon Shrine. So we will be able to upgrade our armor. We're not stuck at no equipment for the rest of the game. So here we meet Gorto, who's basically like the Gordo enemies from Kirby. You know, he's spiky haired, spiky spear, spiky personality.
It just sticks things around.
Yeah, and so he tells us, he's like, hey, I know you probably want to get into the shrine, but I'm not supposed to. And now I'm going to tell you about this dude named Sada, whose girlfriend got kidnapped by the demons, because apparently the demons have just been kidnapping people. We're not quite sure why yet. We're not quite sure why the demons have been kidnapping people yet, but Sada ran into the shrine, guns blazing or sword swinging, to try to rescue his girlfriend, and Gordo's like, yeah, you know, I'm not supposed to let anyone in, but I imagine if you talk to his father, Hadat, who's also like one of the village elders or something, he'll probably give permission that I can let you in. So here we talk to everyone's favorite jolly Canadian, Hadat. I mean, if any NPC in an RPG was Canadian,
it's this guy.
It's this guy. He lives in a log cabin. He's smoking a pipe, wearing you know, what can best be described as middle-aged flannel. And right outside his house, we're also going to be picking up some crew berries. These are more MP restoration items, because we'll be going quite a while in a bit here without any sort of healing. And we're also going to be doing a pretty lengthy grind, and so between that grind and a boss fight, which we don't have any sort of recovery for, we will be using those to top up our MP. So here, there's these two enemies here, these Zarets, Gatekeeper Zaret. And they are some of the strongest enemies in the game, if not the strongest normal enemy in the game. There's no way we can hurt them. Thankfully, we can turn into a cute little adorable Roo and be like, excuse me, sir, I killed Adol, and here's his equipment to show that I definitely killed him. And they're like, oh, okay, well, cool. We'll let you in then. Just be sure to let Zava know. By the way, she's off in the East Wing. Have fun. We're like, thank you. And then we immediately turn back into Adol in front of them, and they're like, what? And we just go about our way. Thankfully, they definitely believe that gullible isn't in the dictionary and look it up at any given opportunity. So here, as we're running through the Shrine of Salmon, we're going to be fishing out some kills. We need to be level 38 before we fight the next boss, which is a lot of levels.
Oh, yes.
And we will be doing a pretty good grind section, pretty good grind here soon. But, you know, the more EXP we can get now, while we're just traveling, the less we have to grind later. So we're just going to be killing some enemies here. We have to run some errands. We're going to follow the advice of those very nice gatekeepers. And we're going to turn into the Roo and talk to this receptionist, I guess. Just a nice little desk here, and she's like, "Oh, you killed Adol? Well, cool. Here, take this pass, and it will let you into another section of the shrine where Zava's currently having a meeting with the other generals of Dallas." And we're like, "Okay, cool, thank you." And then we just leave, and now we're gonna be running back to there where we'll show the pass to get access to that section of the shrine. You'll notice we still have the Whisper Earrings equipped. That's actually quite important because we do need to
be able to hear what's going on.
Yeah, because we do need to be able to eavesdrop through a door, and it's just nice. Sometimes you do have to end up unequipping the Whisper Earrings if you end up in a situation where you need to heal. Thankfully, that did not occur, and so we can save some menuing. That's always nice. But here we need to turn into a Rue again, and he just lets us through. And he's like, yeah, when you're done, just be sure to give the pass back, and we definitely aren't going to be doing that.
Yeah. Sorry. It's ours for keeps, boys.
I mean, we're a JRPG protagonist. We basically own anything that is not bolted to the floor, and even then, sometimes if you can unbolt it, it's yours. So here you have to turn into a Rue because Rues speak demon and Adel does not. So we overhear this meeting where they're basically talking about how a bunch of the people that they've captured have escaped to an area in the western wing of the shrine. But they're like, oh, but it's fine because there's no way that Adel will be able to get that any intruder will be able to get there because they don't know the password. And by the way, this is what the password is. And so now we're going to go to the other side of the shrine now that we have said password. Here's a funny bit of dialogue with the gatekeepers where they're like, oh, you're back. Wait, weren't you just in there?
No.
Nah, it's fine, whatever. And so they just let you in, and now we're heading on over to the other side of the shrine where we will be giving the password, which is Mika, which is thankfully the first option, so you can just mash out the option. If you were to try to come over this way before the correct password wouldn't actually be one of the options. And we actually will be approaching the, I mentioned, 30-something minutes ago that we did have an item, or there was one very specific use for the light magic. And that's actually coming up here. There is a very important item that is associated with the same sage that is the owner of the healing magic. My East lore is not quite up to snuff, so I don't remember the family. But,
Dabby.
It is Dabby? Okay, that would make sense. It is his sector. So when you enter this room here, it's going to just be a completely empty room. There's not going to be anything there. But if you walk in with the light magic, then this Sacred Cup is here. And that is the one application of the light magic and the entire reason we have to pick the thing up.
And now we will never use it again.
Yes, and now we will never be using it again, except for the 10th of a second as we're quick swapping through our spells. Now we're going to actually go and try to meet up with the escaped people who have who kind of established their own little hideout down in the sewers of the shrine.
Not sewers, canals.
Oh yes, aquatic canal. Excuse me, or waterway, something. Definitely not a sewer, though. My apologies.
No, definitely not a sewer. It may look like a sewer. It may smell like a sewer, but probably not a sewer.
Actually, I think that smell is just Alice.
Yeah, that could be too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd be smelling great after 700 years either.
Probably not. Yeah, so he shows up and he's like, hey, you shouldn't continue forward because that's not cool. I'm warning you. And so we go forward and he's like, well, fine. I'm going to curse you by making you adorable. And we're like, no, my one weakness being cute. And so now that we have become adorable, we are permanently in Rue form. And this is actually a little inconvenient because we are technically considered a monster. So the runaways won't talk to us and they'll actually lock the door in our face if we try to meet up with them. Also, even though we are in a monster form, the enemies here are still aggressive and will still do damage to us, so we do have to be careful about taking damage while we're going through here. However, the Runaways hideout is a warp point, so we'll just be passing through this archway here. And it tags the Runaway hideout as a warp point, so after doing that, we can just warp back to Ramia. And fortunately for us, there is this old man here in this house. And he's like, oh, I see you've been cursed. Oh, well, lucky for you. I happen to have a magical shrine or a magical well in my basement that if you happen to provide me with a sacred artifact that I can definitely use to cure your affliction. And so, man just has a magical well in his basement because why not, as one does? I
mean, wouldn't you want to keep sacred water down in your basement?
Yeah, I mean, it checks out. And so he fills up the sacred cup with the magical water, and we're able to unruify ourselves.
I mean, look at that! Look at that pedestal; it is immaculate.
Yes, and fortunately, the sacred this shrine here is also counted as also a heal point, so we will get a full heal from this, which is nice because, like I said, we're going to be needing a lot of MP very soon. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to be meeting up with the Runaways. They're a bunch of just various people from different villages. It seems like the demons have been capturing people and then trying to sacrifice specific individuals. Oh, and also jump scare. The most terrifying thing in this game is Lilia. And she's like, hey, I was captured, but then I was free. Oh, also, here, have this key. And we're like,
Okay.
Okay. And so Dallas shows up. It turns out he was actually just using us to find the runaways. And now he's going to do a little party trick, and he's going to petrify everyone. Except for us, because he's mean.
He is not fun at parties.
Yeah. Real downer, that Dallas. But, oh no, now everyone's petrified. But hey, we have a key, so that's cool. So we're going to take that key. That key allows us to access more areas, open various doors throughout the shrine. Specifically, it lets us access the next boss, which we definitely cannot fight yet. Well, we can fight him, but it would not go very well for us. But it also lets us access another point of the waterways right by where that meeting was. So we're going to head it back over to Factus Sector. And it is there that we'll be picking up an item, the Silver Pendant, which we will need later on, and we'll explain that as we get to it. But more importantly, we are level 31, and like I said, we have to be level 38 for the next boss fight. So we have a little bit of a grind on our hands. We're gonna head over to the waterways. We'll explain the grind, and then that'll be prime opportunity for our host to take over for a couple minutes. But first off, we'll explain how this grind is gonna work. So here in this, we're gonna make a safety save because.
Yes.
So here are these two Lamia enemies, and they, spawn really close to the entrance. They give a lot of EXP because they are a quite high-level enemy. And so we're going to be running back and forth in and out of the subterranean canal, killing these enemies. You'll notice he'll actually fire a shot at the left Lamia before going to kill the right one. That's just to make sure that the left one aggroes to us. Something we want to keep out for, because these enemies aren't super threatening initially. However, they do have a very nasty attack if they're allowed to charge it. They have a Fire Breath attack, and for some unknown reason, this Fire Breath covers half of the screen and can just 100 to 0 us if we don't have great positioning. Again, we're not wearing any armor, and so bad things happen if they are allowed to use their attack. But fortunately, we've gotten a couple levels, so this grind is just going to go quicker and quicker. Unfortunately, this game does actually have EXP rubber banding, so we'll be getting a lot of enemies from these fights for the first couple levels, and then as we get closer to 38, we'll get less and less EXP as we get to be more on level with them. But we do have a couple minutes here, so host, take it away.
Well, we've got some love coming in for this game. We've got a $5 donation from Ghost Kumo, who says, I just realized I said kick Doc Fact in the face. My bad. I disrespected the law. Kick Dom in the face. As punishment, here's another 5. This one is for Freedom's Choice. Also, to Freedom, hi.
Yo, what up, Ghost? Thank you so much. My choice will also go for the glitch exhibition.
Alrighty. We've got a $48 donation from Flannel Cat, who says, Flannel Cat here representing the Block Union of Newtopia, donating her dues per block push throughout the run. It's an honor to be a part of this such a wonderful event, and good luck to all of our runners.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we have a $127.46 donation from Doughwolf, who says, here's a penny for every pixel that Toph can get stuck on. Ooh. Keep up the great job on the run.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doughwolf.
Now, I want to point out, we have some $5 prizes that you potentially could be entered to win for that minimum donation. And this with Toph, it's got me thinking, what are some things that Toph might get stuck on if he were just to be walking around a lava cave or his house or the schoolyard? So if you have an idea of something that Toph might get stuck on and you would like to send $5 our way, there's lots of prizes that you potentially could be entered to win. We've got, if you think this game is fantastic so far and you want to not only play it but also see the first game in the series, that this one starts immediately afterwards, $5 will get you entered to win an East 1 and 2 Chronicles key. There's also the Perla from Suikoden 2 for a minimum $5 donation, the Impact of a Water book for a minimum $5 donation, and the Lame Mage TT RPG book set for a minimum of $30 donations. And all of those are open until Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. So if you have some ideas of what Toph might run into, send them our way.
Awesome, and that's perfect timing because we have just finished up our grind there. You could see in the corner the fire breath attack we were talking about. And here we pick up a silver pendant. So as soon as we beat the next boss, we'll get to a goddess statue. And that statue is actually very, very special amongst all the other goddess statues. And they'll tell you, like, hey, if you bring us a silver pendant, then you'll actually be able to warp to another location in the shrine. Both the silver and the gold pendant, there's 2 items. We pick up the silver pendant, we'll be able to continue forward on our adventure. So we're just picking up that now because it's convenient to do so. And yeah, so here we're going to be restoring our MP because we have another fun curtain fire shooter fight. This is Druger.
Apologies to all arachnophobes out there.
Yes, we have our giant spoder friend. So first off, the spoder starts out with these 2 little antenna things. And they actually eat up Hawk Idol shot aggro. Thankfully, a couple shots will get rid of them. So this boss is very interestingly coded. So the original versions of this game, even like through the TurboGrafx version, did not have the charge shots that we're shooting enemies with. And so you would just shoot enemies and you would do full damage to them or whatever. When they made, I believe, the Eternal version of this game, they added in the charge shot feature to let you do more damage. And they also adjusted the coding on most of the bosses to more encourage you to use charge shots, where you do very little damage with a normal shot and a lot with a charge. Druger did not get said adjustment, and so you can actually just rapid fire shots right into his face and do full damage, which is very, very helpful because that fight's a bit of a nightmare. You can see, he does periodically he shoots that blue electric attack that has some homing to it. He also lays eggs that each fire off a spread shot of 5 or 6 bullets, and it's just there's a lot that can be going on during that fight.
I mean, we were not kidding when we said this game gets a little schmuppy.
Yes, they very much ease the curtain fire shooter. And here we get this item from Hadot that's basically a ye old medieval cell phone that's supposed to be the hint system for this area. If you're ever lost, you can call Hadot on the Lila shell, I think it's called, and he will give you some like, hey, maybe you should go this way. So here he actually calls us and says that there's someone that's wanting to see us, that we would recognize them, and that they're this annoying little boy wants to see you, and you might know who he is. We're going to just ignore that. We're going to just ignore that problem and hope that it goes away. And instead, we're going to actually be we picked up a battle shield there, which is the second best shield in the game, and it is the shield that we will be using because the last shield is pretty not necessary and isn't even gotten until immediately before the final boss. As we're going through here, we're also going to be eventually picking up an upgrade to our sword, a set of armor, and an upgrade to our idol. But first, it's time for us to talk to your boy, Keith.
Keith! So this is Keith.
Yeah, so this is Keith. He talks to us. He's like, hey, sorry I got a little angry there before. I don't know what got into me, but here, have this key. This key will actually let you lower the water level in the canal. And so we were like, okay, cool. Thanks, Keith. What a bro. And so now we're going to go deliver that. Thankfully, the section of the canal we need to access is right by the Runaways' hideout. So we're going to warp there, access the door. We're going to lower the water level, and the game considers lowering the water level to be a pretty big achievement, so we're actually going to get a level up for it, which is very nice.
I mean, it's an experience for sure.
Yeah, truly. And, this lever is, pretty serious business. I mean, look at it. It even flipped. That's some serious lever.
Big lever. Comically.
Yes. And so now we can actually traverse the lower areas of the canal. This allows us to travel between each section of the canal because all of the canal is interconnected with itself. Here we'll be picking up the battle armor. We're not going to equip it quite yet because we're going to get the battle sword pretty soon, and it's just more convenient to equip everything at the same time. So we'll be running back. And through here, there's a tunnel that takes us right back to the room we were in before, where like I said, we'll be picking up the battle sword along with the Falcon Idol. To just briefly explain what the Falcon Idol does is it is like I said, an upgrade to the Hawk Idol. It makes your magic all shiny and light blue. It also upgrades the charge shot quite a bit. It still retains its homing properties. However, now whenever the charge shot hits an enemy, it will actually split off into a bunch of smaller homing bullets that will do some little extra damage. It's a very, very nice upgrade that comes at a great time because we actually have another grind coming up for us. The next boss fight, Zava, is very, very nasty and quite powerful. And so we're going to be grinding to level 45 to deal with her. And fortunately, there's going to be an area that has some quite powerful enemies that give a lot of experience. So that grind won't take very long, but it can be just a little bit dicey. But as we get into that grind, yeah, here's the Falcon Idol. And the Falcon Idol also can be equipped from that same menu, so now we're going to just go ahead and equip everything at once, all 3 pieces of armor. Now we can actually take a hit, which is quite miraculous considering, we're 2/3 of the way through the game and we finally have armor. And here we are at the palace grounds, and yeah, we're going to be doing a little bit of grinding. We have 2 enemies here in this area. We have these Wizrobe wizard enemies that fire projectiles that are also completely immune to magic, which is a problem. What's also a problem is that the way that they are immune to magic is that they pop up a shield at the last second before the spell hits them, which also gives them iframes to other attacks as well. So we need to be careful about just shooting them. The Campanile of Lane is where Zava is. We could actually go into her boss room right now. She would absolutely just murder us if we did. So yeah, we're going to be running back and forth here for a little bit, grinding. What James is going to do is he's going to get a couple of levels just running around the outside of the Campanile. There is a warp point nearby that we need to grab the Temple of the Goddess, or the Palace of the Goddess, I forget which.
The Goddess's Palace.
Goddess's Palace, something, potato.
We'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, we'll see what it is when we get there. We do need to grab that warp point. It is a bit of a walk to get there with a lot of enemies that can stack up damage pretty quickly, so we're going to do some quick grinding here right by the palace just for some safety, so that then when we actually head over to the palace, we'll be able to deal with enemies a little quicker and won't get caught in any weird pincer formations. But while we're doing all of that, now is a great time if host has anything for us.
Well, we've got a $20 donation from Super Papaya with no comment. Thank you so much, Super Papaya, for that donation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just as a reminder, RPG Limit Break 2024 is coming to you live from Salt Lake City, Utah, where we are raising money for NAMI, or the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI was formed in 1979 as a grassroots advocacy organization by a group of parents whose children suffered with serious mental illnesses, and they have maintained that focus to this day. I did want to say also, we do still have all of those Suikoden 2 incentives coming up. We've got the names for the army, the castle, and the hero. Right now, Army is winning for the army with $75, and then Orion, Leggy, and Smarmy are not far behind. The castle is currently named Castle for $75 with a Yuden behind at $20. And then the hero's name, still a very contentious match-off. We've got Murayama for $175, Hero for $150, Digston for $125, and Ice Lion at $25. So that is anyone's game. And if you'd like to see some extra Suikoden, we've got the Clive side quest, the Glitch exhibition, and McDowell's side quest all available as well. The Glitch exhibition is more than halfway there with $291 out of $500, and I know that that's going to be fantastic, and we would love to see some more RPG Limit Breaks. So get those donations going if you can.
All right, so here we're going to do something that we ideally wouldn't have to do. However, we did take a hit while we were doing this grind, and this next boss fight is... We mentioned before everything was kind of a curtain fire shooter. This next fight, and it just takes that up to 11. And we really, really want to have as much health as possible for that. So James just took a quick little dip into the Goddess's Palace there. There's some dialogue in a cutscene that you ideally wouldn't want to see in the run, but you do get a full heal for talking to the goddesses there, who definitely don't look familiar at all.
No. Again, it's just a safety thing. Could technically do it with that one hit, but as Free says, very dangerous boss, as you will see here in a moment. So just for the marathon, just going to do extra layer of safety.
Yeah, so this next fight is going to be another bit of serious time. So I'll quickly go over it, and then we'll let James focus as the fight gets a little more intense. So Zava starts out this fight by being completely invincible, and she sends these 2 bat demons after you. These demons love to swarm you, like completely invade your personal space, and machine gun fire at you, because that's fun. This first little bit isn't too bad because there's only 2 of them. However, after we kill these 2, she'll spawn 3, and then after you kill those 3, she'll spawn 4. And once you get 3 and 4 on the screen, it just absolutely gets to be a nightmare to deal with. So now at this point, ideally, we try to keep them grouped up together as much as possible, hit them with as many of the residual bullets from the Falcon Idol as we can. But at this point, now I'm going to let James focus on this. Okay, so now we have the actual Zava fight itself. She summons one more bat, but that's not a big deal. She also starts like just erratically shooting fireballs at you. Thankfully, though, she's pretty squishy, so the hard part of the fight was pretty much over there. If we can... Okay, we're good.
There we go.
It is worth noting we did pick up a bunch of herbs that we can use in that fight if we choose to do so. However, every herb that we use during the Zava fight is an herb that we cannot use against Dallas. And we would much, much rather have those herbs for the Dallas fight. So there, even though our health got a little low, James made the call to just finish out the fight because thankfully she was pretty close to dead at that point. So here we meet Maria, and she's about to get sacrificed to some evil demonic entity of some sort. So now we have to hurry, and we have to get to the top of the Campanile of Lane before the bell tolls 5 times. Because if it tolls 5 times, then that's game over. So
well, it's not. It's game over for her.
Yeah, game over for her. But, you know, a demonic entity being released on the world sounds like a pretty bad thing.
Pretty bad thing, so let's get up there before 5.
Yeah, thankfully we're speedrunners, so theoretically we should be able to beat the timer here.
I mean, we haven't had a bell ring yet, so... Well, no, wait, no, second time.
It's okay, we're getting close. There's a treasure just there, don't worry about it. We can't think about it right now.
I think it's blocked off, so no worries.
All right, we're getting the outside. We're out of the first major building, and it's ringing a third time.
We're good. We're good.
It's good. Yeah, this building's pretty short, so we should be able to make it. All right, 4th time, but it's fine. We're gonna make it.
We're here. Oh, dang it!
It's Dallas.
Ah, you nerd.
And so now he's going to unleash his strongest weapon that he has against us.
Exposition.
Yeah, monologuing.
Though, to be actually fair, even in gameplay right now, we can't actually hurt him, so unfortunately, he gets to get away with this right now.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Fission has been mailed, and we do not rescue Maria. And a lot of bad things are going to happen. So the evil Lord Darm will be released, and also something worth noting is that it's not really mentioned as much here, but from now on, Ys is actually falling. By the end of the game, Ys will have actually crashed into the ground. Thankfully, there's like a nice little crater for it to land very softly and gently into, despite being like, you know, a mile or 2 in the air, far enough that no one could see it. So we will be the continent will be descending and we'll be meeting the ground, which is the last criteria for the seal for the evil King Darm to be released. So now this chest has been unlocked, and we can get the Dreaming Idol, which is one of the important items we need to actually cure the petrification curse. So here now is where you're actually required to visit the goddesses. And they'll tell us, like, oh, you have the Dreaming Idol, perfect. You see, we need to combine that Dreaming Idol with the Black Pearl, and if you bring the 2 items to us, we can combine them, and then you can cure the petrification curse.
Do we really need to get the Black Pearl, though?
Yeah, unfortunately, we know very well where the Black Pearl is. It's with Tarf. But we do know where Tarf is. He's hanging out with the Dot, getting his lumberjack on or something, and we're like, hey, we want the Black Pearl. He's like, oh yeah, no problem, man. I have it with me right here.
Hole in your pocket? Come on, man.
Yeah, he has a hole in his pocket, and so he dropped the super important artifact that's going to be used to save the world. Good job, buddy. Thankfully, the demons here are actually really cool, and they're going to tell us, oh yeah, by the way, the meeting's over, and we found some strange item that's seems pretty powerful, so we're actually just going to be keeping it in the room where the meeting was, just as a heads up. So yeah, it's official. The Gatekeepers are better, more helpful characters than Tarf is.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah. I don't think I've never heard of this version of Battleground before, huh?
It is definitely interesting.
Yeah. Both of us tend to just listen to the Chronicles music because that's what the default is. Different runners have different preferences. Korzik, the world record holder for this game, likes the complete music a lot. We both like the Chronicles music. Some people like the chiptune. Just, personal preference. It's cool to be able to hear what the original track sounded like. So here in here we're able to get the Black Pearl, and we can now warp back to the goddesses where they will place the Black Pearl into the statue because we're apparently incapable of doing that ourselves. And then they'll tell us that in order to cure the petrification on everyone, we have to take the idol back to the top of the Campanile of Lane. which means we have a bit of a walk on our hands, and this is the absolute perfect opportunity for our host to plug anything, or if he has anything for us.
Anything got?
Well, I want to show some love for our community artists, LLK, who designed the RPG Limit Break logo, and Mega Weasel and It's Casa, who are responsible for designing several of the emotes which you can access by subscribing to RPG Limit Break's channel. All revenue from subscriptions, bits, and the ads we run contribute to funding our annual marathons, and your support in this regard is critical to helping us put on these wonderful events year after year. And, along those same lines, RPG Limit Break is excited to announce that we have launched our own merchandise store. From hoodies to coffee mugs to even fanny packs, you're sure to find your new favorite RPG Limit Break branded gear. And the best part is, all proceeds from our merchandise sales go directly towards funding RPG Limit Break, so we can continue to bring you these awesome live events every year. To visit our online store, please visit www.store.rpglimitbreak.com.
Thank you. So we're almost at the top of the tower, and thankfully, we actually do get a free level up from this, because it is considered a big enough of accomplishment that the game's like, yeah, you did a quest again, which is awesome. So for the Dallas fight, there's really two strats you can go with. There's fighting him at level 47, which can be kind of scary. It's a very, very stressful fight, and honestly one of the harder strats in the run to go for. So with that in mind, and because it doesn't take actually that long to do, we're going to be fighting him at level 48. We will also be picking up an extra piece of equipment. So now that we're using the Dreaming Idol and have unpetrified everyone, we're going to go on a bit of a hunt to pick up some extra items that we didn't originally have access to. So first off, we're going to visit the Runaways hideout. We're going to talk to the people who are petrified. After talking to each one of them, they'll give us a little bit of information. Like, oh yeah, Issa's has landed back on the ground. Oh yeah, Lily is gone. We're not quite sure where she is. It's probably fine. And just some various information. And eventually, after all of this, they're actually going to give us the gold pendant, which is the item we need to get to the final area of the shrine where we will be fighting Dallas. In addition, also, hey Keith.
What's up?
He gives them a wing, and apparently Keith is just so cool that he's able to give them special wings that let 5 people teleport at once. If you had tried to use a wing when Tarf was around, you'd be like, oh, but I can't use that. Wings only work on one person.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Keith is just so cool, he breaks the laws of the game. But hey, we get the gold pendant, so it's all good. And after that, we'll be going back to... that's... I wonder why we're seeing this cutscene.
I do not know where we're seeing this cutscene.
So...
maybe complete? I have no idea.
We didn't see the other one, though.
I know. I'm very confused.
So Lilia has just jump scared the runner. So you're not supposed to actually see that cutscene in the run. This game has a weird New Game Plus feature, quote New Game Plus, where if the game detects a clear data, then it will. Then there's 3 cutscenes that play in the run that normally you wouldn't see. It costs like over a minute over the course of the run, so we always make sure that we either don't let the game play out the ending after we beat the game, or that we delete our configuration data between runs to make sure those don't play. The first cutscene plays right at the beginning of the game, and I'm like 99% sure we didn't see that cutscene.
We did not see that cutscene.
And that one's the second one, but we saw it, and we definitely should not have.
I wonder if that's just because I went into the Goddess's Palace early for some reason.
It shouldn't matter, because that's a heal that you take if you get hit a lot, so that's weird. All right, well, the game is just... That's never happened before.
Video games are weird.
So, as I was saying before Lilia decided to troll us, in this area of the subterranean canal, you could have actually earlier have come over here and you would have found Sada, the dude that stormed into the shrine. He was petrified in this spot, but now that we've freed him, we're going to tell him that unfortunately we could not save his girlfriend. She has been sacrificed to resurrect Dharm, and he's going to kind of lose all motivation to keep killing demons. And so he's going to give us a Claria sword. Claria is very special in this game. It's essentially what Silver was in the first game. Oh, that's dark.
That was an accident.
Claria is very special in this game in that it's basically Claria is essentially just anti-demon material. It's the only thing that will actually be able to pierce the barrier that Dallas has. Not even magic can. He actually nulls all magic and normally nulls any attacks, but the Claria armor can pierce his defenses. And also Sada tells us that we can visit his dad to acquire another piece of Claria equipment. This is completely a safety strat. It takes some time to get, but it makes the Dallas fight coming up way safer. Because we actually didn't get enough EXP to hit level 48, but that's totally fine. Like we said, the Claria armor adds a very, very large level of safety to the fight that you wouldn't normally get. Because during this fight is just the absolute pinnacle of the shmup curtain fire action, especially since he's immune to magic. It means you have to get up in his face to do damage to him, and you'll see there might be 1 or 2 bullets on screen trying to prevent us from doing that.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
And so we're getting the Claria armor here just gives us a very large defensive cushion that you wouldn't necessarily get in a PB attempt, but is very, very good for a marathon run. All right, cool. And so we're going to equip the sword because that's kind of important. We're going to equip the armor. And we're going to equip our herbs. The herbs restore, like I said before, they restore 50 HP. You can hold a maximum of 3 of them at once. And we've been saving them specifically for this boss because, yeah, Dallas doesn't play around. Because, yeah, that's a couple of bullets.
There's a few.
So basically the way this fight works is he teleports around, he summons a bunch of meteors, and as he teleports in, he shoots out a ton of bullets completely at random. That was kind of rude. You can hit him either 1, 2, or 3 times per cycle. Unless the bullets just completely knock you away, you can very consistently get double hits, and if you happen to have a good position, you can get triple hits. So here we're going to be hoping to get triple hits, hoping to knock him into a wall so he doesn't get far enough away from us that we can get the triple hits in, and basically just try to sneak through these meteors. These meteors are very rude and can combo you to the moon and back. And so we're going to try to avoid those. The meteors do break if they hit walls, so as we run away from them, we're trying to just get them to lead off. And just really hoping that the bullets that he fires don't give us a bad pattern. You'll also notice we're returning to the middle of the room every single time. The Dallas tends to teleport a little bit away from you, and you'll notice the meteors are rotating clockwise. It's a lot easier to approach him as a result, going in the direction the meteors are facing, so from the bottom or from the left instead of from the right. And so ideally we're going into the middle of the room to hope that he teleports on the to the top right corner of the screen. But in general, just the middle of the room is a safe spot to be, just regardless of where he teleports. And there we go, that's Dallas down. All right, so right after beating Dallas, we get the shield magic, and the shield magic makes you completely invincible. You take 0 damage when the shield magic is equipped. It does, however, the more hits it does drain your MP at a decent rate, and every time you get hit, it does deal MP damage. But for all intents and purposes, when you have the shield magic, you are completely invincible until your MP runs out. However, we did pick up a Rhoda fruit earlier. It's Tarf. We're just going to pretend like he's not there.
Yeah.
We did pick up a Rhoda fruit, like I mentioned earlier. Oh, by the way, Maria's alive. Apparently a trapdoor opened underneath her before the ritual sacrificed her, and so she was spared. So we can't proceed forward, but thankfully it's Keith.
Keith!
And we're able to continue forward. So yeah, the Rhoda fruit we have, it will give us basically a full entire bar of magic to deal with him. Also, Gordo's here for some reason.
Lots of old friends.
Someone was just here. Ah! Lily is here to terrify us again, and she's like, "Hey, so I was led here by a voice, and I was told to give you this ring." So this goddess ring is the last equipment that we'll be using. It gives us a little bit of stats, which is kind of nice, but more importantly, while we're fighting the final boss, it will periodically actually freeze the final boss in place. Otherwise, he can be a little slippery and just sort of go all over the place and be annoying to deal with, but this will freeze him in place periodically. Also, this is the room where we fought Vagulian in, and hey, don't those...
They seem familiar.
We don't really have time to think about it, though, because Dharm is monologuing. Apparently, that's where Dallas gets it from. But first, suddenly, it's these dudes from the first game. And Gobin's like, "Here, Adel, I'll help you." And he just freaking chucks this harmonica at our face so quickly you can see after images. actually the most deadly weapon in the game. Thankfully, we caught it, and we managed to play a harmonica song that we've heard like 2 times in our life. Which, the magic of the silver harmonica makes Darm go away, and suddenly it's revealed that all this time, the goddesses of Ys were actually Rhea and Fina this whole time.
What?
Yeah, right? You know, blue-haired anime characters being important in an Ys game?
Who'd have thunk?
Huh. But, yeah, they tell us, yeah, we were sealed away because the source of magic in all of Ys, the Black Pearl, not the Black Pearl we were using, that was like a duplicate of the actual Black
There's
Pearl.
a mini Black Pearl.
Is also the source of demons, and so we were hoping to seal away the Black Pearl, but we woke up and the seal has been weakened, so we actually... Why is this cutscene playing?
I have no idea.
This is the final cutscene that's supposed to be New Game Plus only, and...
I guess when we did practice, we did let it go long enough that it...
I guess maybe we just didn't notice the goddess cutscene playing because we were talking, I don't know. But yeah, you're not supposed to see this cutscene. But yeah, this is the cutscene that takes a lot of time. This cutscene in itself is like 40 seconds. But yeah, Keith's being cool and he's killing demons because he's Keith, and we love Keith. You know, we did this for y'all. We know you all wanted to see more Keith, so there you go. You're welcome.
Remember, $5 Keith train.
Yeah. So yeah, here we have some dialogue of basically these are all of the descendants of the 6 sages. Previously, and now they're all teaming up to hold off the demons while we fight Darm, which should get rid of all of them. This cutscene is so long, holy moly. So yeah, we have the final boss coming up. Time will be on the final hit of the final boss, so we have a couple of minutes here before that happens. But we're just gonna throw on shield magic and we're gonna tank to our heart's desire. This fight here. Again, just full-on bumper car on him. His hitbox in this first phase is basically anywhere on his model, I believe, and then in the second phase it will be a little bit more strict. But yeah, you saw those rings around him. That's the effect of the Goddess's Ring. That's our perfect opportunity to hit him. So with this fight, even though we are invincible and it's pretty hard to die here, it is important that we actually manage his positioning a little bit, because it's really there. You notice there's a giant hole in the middle of this arena. And he can actually get stopped by the Goddess's Ring while he's out of bounds, and that is very unfortunate because that's a lot of potential damage that you can miss out on otherwise. So here we should be... Yeah, there we go. There we have just finished up phase 1. Now we have to fight the Pearl itself, and this thing has a hitbox of all time. He also just floods the screen with bullets because the devs just do not care anymore. But yeah, he is like an oval, and the only part of his hitbox that actually exists is like the very bottom of it, and it's really slippery, and he's shooting bullets and lasers, and bullets are everywhere, and you know, the angel wings look cool, but they're very distracting, and it's a very fun time. And also he likes to throw himself across the room when he uses the laser, which can line up with the Goddess's bow, or the Goddess's Ring. But do get ready on time, by the way. Oh, he's just barely out of bounds there. That's so rude.
It's okay. We'll bump him off.
Yeah, just get ready on time, though, because he should be going down very soon. And time. Nicely done.
So, fun fact here in just a moment. We've actually killed off the source of magic, so we're actually losing all magic.
Yes, there is no more magic anywhere else in the world. We'll never encounter magic ever again in the series.
All right, but that's it. Little over, but that was
due to the cutscenes.
Yeah,
we would have been fine, but for some reason the game decided to troll us. It's whatever.
So we'll keep this short because we need to keep things moving. Thank you so much to RPG Limit Break for having us here. Free, thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you for letting me join you on this adventure.
Shout out to everyone in E-Server, GK, TuxDev, Delphi, Korzik.
Yeah.
I forget anyone, I apologize.
Baronade. Shout outs to the whole East and Falcom server, the whole community. Y'all are amazing and awesome, and very, very privileged to be part of this great community.
And so I think we will cut it off. Stay tuned. We have Suikoden 2 coming up, and hope you all enjoy the rest of the marathon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that run, James. We're going to go ahead and take a quick ad break, y'all, and we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that II Chronicles run. And we've got some fun coming up. We've got a $25 donation from Nightflyer with no comment. Thank you so much for that donation. And don't forget, speaking of donations, we have so many incentives coming up for this Suikoden 2 run. We've got chances to name the army, to name the castle, and to name the hero. So once again, in the lead for naming the army is Army, A-U-R-M-I-E at $75. Orion is sitting at $40, not far behind it, and Leggy at $10 and Smarmy at $8. The castle is currently named Castle, K-A-S-S-U-L, but Ayuden is not far behind at $20, so that could change at any moment. And we've got quite the matchup for the hero's name. Moriyama is currently in the lead with $175. Hiro not far behind, that's H-I-R-O-H, at $150. Digston close behind at $125. And Ice Lion at $25. So it's still anyone's game there. And if you would like to see more RPG Limit Break, we've got some side quests and an awesome glitch exhibition that we'd love to see met. That glitch exhibition is at $316 out of $500. We are so close. We would love to see all of those glitches shown off on our stage here. The Clive side quest is also sitting at $262 out of $1,000, and the McDowell side quest is coming in at $195 out of $1,000. So get those donations in to see some extra Suikoden too. And speaking of donations, you still have a lot of time to get into for your chance to win some fabulous prizes. If you just loved that Ys showcase, you could also play it yourself. With a $5 minimum donation, you are entered to win an Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles key. There's also that Turperler for you Suikoden fans for a minimum $5 donation as well. The Impact of a Water book for a minimum $5 donation. And the Lame Mage TTRPG book set for a minimum of $30 donation. All of those are open until Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. But that is not all, because we still have 2 of our large prizes, which are open until the end of the marathon, and are both cumulative donations. The Whale Lord plush, you see him sitting there with all of his friends riding across on the top there. That's a minimum $75 donation in the second half of the marathon. And our grand prize, that massive Buster Sword replica, a minimum $250 cumulative donation over the course of the entire marathon. So if you want to do your best Cloud Strife impression and maybe swap out some materia, get those donations a-rolling. We want to send a special shout out to the people involved with our foreign language restreams. Our French restream can be found at twitch.tv/LeFrenchRestream. And our Japanese restream at twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. If those restreams can help you better enjoy the marathon, please go check them out and send them some love. And speaking of love, RPG Limit Break is excited to announce that we have launched our own merchandise store. From hoodies to coffee mugs to even fanny packs, you're sure to find your new favorite RPG Limit Break branded gear. And the best part is, all proceeds from our merchandise sales go directly towards funding RPG Limit Break, so we can continue to bring you these awesome live events every year. To visit our online store, please visit www.store.rpglimitbreak.com. You know, we've been having a blast with this block of games that all have storied histories and many entries in their franchises. Well, maybe not Newtopia, unless you are buying into that special extended universe lore. But I'm curious, for those of you who are hanging out in the chat, what's your favorite Suikoden game and why? You've got lots of entries to choose from, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. I can tell you, I remember I first came across Suikoden 1 while I was waiting for Final Fantasy VII, and that time in the beginning of the PS1 era, where there were some really great RPGs coming out, was a really, really special time and a special part of my childhood, so I'm sure you have a lot of great memories about those, too. Wanted to give another quick shout out. An artist that deserves special thanks is the one that worked on our overlays, Oro, who can be found on Twitter at OUROLEN. Thanks so much for those overlays, Oro, excuse me. Folks, we're all here in support of NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I wanted to remind everyone that the NAMI helpline is a free, US-based, nationwide peer support service providing information, resource referrals, and support to people living with mental health conditions, their family members, caregivers, and mental health providers. The NAMI helpline is available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time via phone call, text, and live web chat. To reach the NAMI helpline, please call 1-800-950-6264. Once again, that's 1-800-950-6264. Or visit nami.org/help to access all NAMI helpline resources and contact information. Oh, I'm seeing lots of love for Suikoden 2 in the chat, and that's excellent since we have that run coming up very soon. Just a reminder, we do have, if you're a Suikoden 2 fan, we do have those extra incentives to give us more Suikoden. That's the Glitch Exhibition, which is currently at $316 out of $500. The Clive side quest, which is at $262 out of $1,000, and the McDowell side quest, which is at $195 out of $1,000. And let me say, we are currently at $48,316, and if we met all of those incentives, we would push over $50,000 for this run. So please get those donations going, and let's keep RPG Limit Break going. Well, we're still getting that Suikoden 2 run up and running. And, speaking of runs, I'd also love to know some of your favorite runs from the event so far. We've seen a lot of really, really cool exhibitions throughout the week. And if you've had a favorite that you'd like to shout out, let us know in chat as well. I think we got some love coming in for our French restream. Lucky Lossa gives a $10 donation and says, Allez pour LFR. Thanks for that love there, Lucky Lossa. Well, I do have a special message from one of our sponsors. Blah, blah, blah. Some marketing speech here about how great we are. Honestly, who cares? Yes, we publish games, and you should only care for the games. Enjoy our games, wishlist them, and support cool indies. Take a look at Drova, Spindle, Elements Destiny, Chained Echoes, and Crosscode. That message comes to you from Deck 13, one of our sponsors for RPG Limit Break. Thank you so much, Deck 13, for your support. Well, if you just can't get enough of reppin' RPG Limit Break, we wanted to let you know that RPG Limit Break is proud to partner with the Yeti, who have designed 3 exclusive t-shirts and an enamel pin for this year's event. If you would like to see these awesome designs, please visit theyeti.com/RPGLB and check them out. Remember, these items will only be available for the duration of the marathon, so get yours before it's too late. Well, as you know, folks, we're here supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around 3 main pillars: education and support, awareness, and advocacy. So what does awareness mean? Nami drives the national conversation around mental health from coast to coast and across all demographics, having appeared in major media more than any other mental health organization since 2021, with over 24,000 earned media articles in top-tier outlets including NPR, CBS News, CNN, and the BBC. You know, folks, I'm a big fan of video game music, and I have to say it was absolutely fabulous to hear that original PC-88 soundtrack in our last run. And I'm so excited to be heading into this PlayStation classic because the CD music era is one of my absolute favorites, and there are just so many great soundtracks from the late 90s that use a wide variety of awesome synthesizers and MIDI music in their composition. So I hope you're ready for this, because if you haven't heard the soundtrack, I think you're going to be in for a treat. All right, folks, I did want to let you know that that naming hero incentive will be the first thing we do at the beginning of the run. So one more time, we've got a real tight race if any of you want to try to snipe last minute. Murayama at $175, Hiro HIROH at $150, Digston at $125, and Iceline at $25. So if you want to try to get something in before the run begins, you better go quickly. Alrighty, folks, my time with you has come to an end. Thank you so much for being awesome and making this hosting stint of mine an absolute joy. I'm going to be throwing it over to Ghost Kumo, who will be taking you over to Suikoden 2 very soon. Take care.
Hello, RPG Limit Break 2024. My name is Ghost Kumo, and I will be hosting for a little bit here on this next upcoming run. Just wanted to let y'all know really quick that we are going to be doing a quick stream reset, so please don't change your browser tabs. If the stream goes offline for a second, that's going to be fine. We're just going to be doing a quick reset. You might need to refresh the page, but we should be okay in just a moment. Stay tight. Yes, am I still mic'd? Alrighty, cool.